And what was it that drew you to Lehman Brothers? Why was that a company you wanted to join?
Well, my whole life I had my goal of reaching the Holy Grail, which, to me was always the big leagues, the major leagues, and that's an investment bank on Wall Street. And to me, Lehman Brothers represented a very, very special place because it's been very well known and it's pretty famous for its culture. It's kind of a mid-size investment bank, not as big as the large commercial behemoths.
And it's interesting you talk about it in the present tense still.
Yes, I can't help it. Probably will for many years to come.
Yeah.
But we really wrote the book, Patrick and I, to expose the few that hurt so many. I mean, I'm something like 2.5 million jobs have been lost since Lehman's failure. Credit lines have been slashed on credit cards. You've had families go through such incredible difficulty, and so many people out there feel like they just got hit with a sledgehammer. And a lot of the problems emanate from one of the most strangest, most bizarre places, one of the most mysterious places on earth, that 31st floor executive suite at Lehman Brothers. This really never should have happened.
Well, I would say that for many of us, what everyone in that building did was a bit mysterious. And so I wanted to ask you first about what you did. You were vice president of distressed debt and convertible securities. What does that mean?
Well, when companies go through difficulty, an example would be like Delta Airlines, a lot of Northwest Airlines in 2000, I think 6 or so. They had some financial difficulties, and companies, their bonds, which normally trade at par, which would be 100. Their bonds sometimes become distressed because the company's cash flow is not enough to pay off its debts. And so those bonds will sometimes become distressed. So they'll trade at 20 cents on the dollar, 15 cents on the dollar. And somebody has to be there to provide a bid or an offer to the big mutual funds like Fidelity or Vanguard. Somebody's got to be there to really be the market. And that was my job, trading distressed debt, so troubled securities.
When I read about this, it sounded like there were a number of different cultures within Lehman Brothers, and you were part of, in a sense, the pessimistic culture, the bear culture. What was it like to be a bear in the midst of one of the biggest bullish markets ever?
Well, we really turned bearish in late 2005, 2006, and I was blessed. There's no I in team. And I just want to make it very clear, I was blessed to work with so many wonderful people. You'd get to work at Lehman Brothers on a cold February morning. And
at 6 o'clock.
At
usually.
6, but say you got in on a Friday. Say Thursday you went out for dinner and you had some fun, and you get in on Friday morning at, say, 7:30. You could go to 6 closets and wouldn't find a coat hanger. I mean, at 7:30, you are a slacker.
But what was it like as a real bear? I mean, your team really was
Sure.
saying there's a problem here within a culture that was saying, go, we're fine.
Sure, yeah. Well, yeah, to answer that question, it was difficult because, bull manias go on for a long time. I mean, Alan Greenspan's irrational exuberance comments were, about a year and a half, 2 years ahead of the crash. And the credit markets, the fixed income markets, the bond markets were on this crazy bull run, and along with the real estate market and the commercial real estate market. And there were some wonderful people inside of Lehman Brothers that were trying to stop the madness, that were issuing warnings, that were emphasizing that we have to get out of commercial real estate, we have to get out of residential real estate, or at least pull back. And one by one, these people were silenced. And at Lehman Brothers, you kept your head down, you did your job, or you lost both. There's so many different engines inside of an investment bank. It's amazing. It just pictures so many different profit engines, and Lehman had so many engines that were very, very profitable. So I'm there on the trading floor, and customers come in, and if there's something bad going on, a customer will come in maybe 3, 4, 5 in a row, and they want to sell bonds, and you have to be there for them. You have to make that market. So if something was really going wrong, you might make the bonds 31-2. They hit you on 10 million bonds. You got to go down. You got to lower. You got to go down 28.9 and just keep going down until the market finds itself.
So the goal for you was to serve these customers? Is that the major goal of what?
The goal, and in between, there's 2 ways you make money. You make money on the trading profits because each time you buy a bond at 31 and sell it at 32, you do that 10 million up. That's a nice profit for the firm. But also, one thing that was going on through those years is, there was so much leverage. Lehman had $18 billion at the top of the market of real money, and $760 billion of investments around the world. So a lot of that is what's called proprietary trading, which means they're positioning. In other words, we're supposed to be in the moving business, but what really killed Lehman Brothers is they became in the storage business.
You write about playing poker with some of your buddies from the firm, and I took that and then sort of looked at what you were doing and exactly what you're talking about, that you had some real money, and then it's as if someone had given you chips that weren't even yours, but you were putting those on the table too.
And that's what makes this such a fascinating read, because we really bring the novice investor, and a seventh grader can understand what happened to our economy, because in essence, when I got to the firm, Lehman's leverage was only 28 times or so. So the ratio...
And the leverage is the money you're spending that you don't actually have.
Yes. So remember, at the top, we were say, $18 billion of real money that Lehman had. Net tangible equity is what they call it, but I don't want to confuse anybody. So $18 billion versus, say, $760. It's like 44 times leverage. So they're basically rolling the dice, and the taxpayer at the end of the day is basically on the hook. So they were, and they were bonusing themselves, these men at the top on the 31st floor, in an enormous way, and they're really using that leverage to increase more revenues, more profits, and more bonuses.